All right. All right. Well, good morning. My name is Travis. I'm with Flint. And so excited you guys are here today. So I know we've got a few people online, and I'm sure a few more will trickle into the room this morning as well. But just want to thank you guys for being here today. We're excited about this. So just real quick, just want to, before I introduce Jack, just want to say we've got our next Smartups will be Tuesday, April 16th, I believe. And so we're going to have Matt Nettleton of Sandler Training is going to come and talk about some sales and marketing collaboration. So that'll be a good one. So you want to mark your calendar. So we'll send out some information about that. But like I said, we're really excited about today. I think most of you guys know Jack already, but we're really looking forward to this. So Jack is our VP of Creative Services here at Flint Analytics. And so Jack is fantastic. I love to work with Jack. One of the things I love about him is that he has no lack of ideas and creative thoughts when it comes to thinking about our clients and opportunities and developing strategy for our clients. Jack does a really good job of putting himself in kind of the user or the client perspective and thinking about things from that perspective. And so he brings a lot of great ideas. And so really looking forward to today with him. And so Jack, I will hand it over to you and we can talk about the marketing mistake that startups make.
All right. Hi, I'm Jack Grubb. I'm the VP of Creative Services for Flint Analytics. If you want to know more about Flint Analytics or Smartups, just go to our website, and it will have all that there's to do. But I'm not, in my previous life, I was executive director of a small Ohio nonprofit. When I talk about small, I mean small as I was the nonprofit. And then I transitioned to the marketing director of a small food company called the Soy Nut Butter Company. If you want to know Tragic Tale, go look them up. But I've been in the space that you have, where you have hardly any, maybe a lot of money, a lot of time, and everybody's looking to you for all that creative spark and energy in marketing, because there's not really a department, there's a guy. I also was a middle school teacher, so if I jump around and tell you to stop chewing gum, I'm sorry. But what we're going to talk about today is the marketing mistakes. And when Travis kind of came to me, I would say last minute, and said, put together a presentation. At first I was going like, let's do a Forte, let's do something about content creation, let's do. But then I remembered when I was a startup marketing guy, I was at a show, and we were trying to do everything at the show. Sell, get like huge clients, do all this stuff. And we had another person who's probably in his 60s or so come to me and say, hey, I love your product. I'm going to give you some sage advice. And it turned out to be the sage advice my father gave him when he was in my shoes. So I say, I finally got a chance to speak to people. I'm going to pay it forward. And we'll get to that in a second. That's called foreshadowing. It's a creative term. Keeps people suspensive. But we'll start with the first mistake that he said I was making. And that was on the marketing message. For those who don't know, the marketing message is different from like your mission or vision, which is your organizational purpose for being. It's different than like a advertising slogan, but it's that one sentence that all your marketing kind of gravitates to. So for example, if you're FedEx, you have a mission and vision of being like one of the biggest shipping companies in the world, you know, lots of sales, lots of volume, direct to the consumer. If you're your slogan, you're what? Is that the title shipping company? Shipping industry, is that FedEx? But your marketing message is very simple, on-time deliveries. So everything you do from advertising, from physical wraps, going to show that there's on-time deliveries. They've done pretty well with that. But now if you're your startup, you're really into your company. So you make the mistake of basically making your initial marketing message doesn't guide your efforts because you overly describe your business or services, comparing yourself to the competition, trying to be everything for everyone, or conversely, sectioning yourself off from opportunities. So you ramble on without a clear message, leaving potential customers confused. Make sense? Let me give you a personal example. When I was soying up butter, I came in, they'd been around for 15 years when I came in there. I was asked to be the marketing director because I knew the Twitters to put it in there. And so I said, well, what are we selling here? And they say, oh, we're a soy-based spread that mimics peanut butter in taste and texture, but has more protein and less sugar. It's the perfect way to get the health benefits of soy into your diet. Okay. Exciting, appetizing. And this is food. Is it technically correct? Yes. Are this a bunch of grain scientists making this marketing message? Definitely. So they're overly describing things and making it more complicated. What would happen, yeah, it's a bland one. It's overly technical, but what it really does, it limits their potential audiences. Only people who want to get soy in their diets are going to eat this soy-based spread. Right? And we do this all the time. Especially when you know yourself. The hardest thing you can do is market yourself. The hardest thing you can do is that, and we went all over these already, the hardest thing you can do is make a marketing message then, but it needs to be concise. If you can make one very, very concise that people can remember, and remember, that sounds weird, people can only remember about 7 to 8 words at a time in your short-term memory. So if you have 30 seconds to get with a customer, give them 7 or 8 words, they can remember that. Give them the other thing, they remember soy-based yuck. So you be concise with the marketing message. That goes into where we sat down, we had a long meeting about it, and we said, okay, we're not soy-based spread, we're just a peanut-free peanut butter. That's what we were. We made peanut butter, looked, smelled, tastes like peanut butter. They didn't have peanuts. People who wanted soy will get it because the name is called soy nut butter. But then we opened it up to other people who just needed peanut-free products. So we had a customer-focused marketing, and we didn't just come up with that. We listened to our customers. Why were they buying from us? They wanted allergy-friendly foods. You know, peanut butter is a big thing for kids. Not having it is a big thing for parents. So you give them something they can eat. They have instant connection for product. They can move in. We were able to move into different markets with this, mainly food service for schools. We didn't even think about that when we started out. And then because we shortened our thing, we raised our revenue because we basically contracted all our marketing. But that was just the start of why this worked. And so this old man from another, I shouldn't say old because I'm about that old now. This man from the other marketing person, he said that's only the start, is to make that shorter. The rest comes into how you think you can do it because you only have a limited time and resources. Oh, we should probably go back. All right. If you want to make it is, always start with writing things down. If you can't write it down, you think you have it, it's going to be different every time you say it. So write it down. Give it to all your people. Say, this is our marketing message. Anything we talk needs to have this image in there. And it's the reason I'm buying. And always try it out on people you don't know. They'll give you the best, honest feedback, because if you do it with just your executive team or your owners or your marketing department, you'll wordsmith it to death. And it won't make any sense out. In other words, you'll spend 2 hours, and, or should we use a hyphen or a plus, or no, just keep going. Lose it for strangers. These are your customers, for people you don't know. And then adjust as needed. If you do that, you're halfway to making a solid base. When you get to marketing, especially these days, there's a wealth of opportunity out there. there's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, website, flyers, brochures, radio, television, whatever you want to do. There's a way to get done. And there's 1,000 people who say, this is the key for marketing. You need to have content. You need to have video. You don't have video, you got nothing. You need to have blogs. You don't have blogs, you got nothing. You need to have great photography, or you got nothing. The problem is you don't have nothing unless you have a base that you worked on, or you funnel everything through. Because if you try to do everything, you're not going to be good at anything. So with this base, let's give you a personal example, because I make mistakes. We have a college access center from scratch. This is in Preble County, Ohio. Anyone hear about it? If you go on 70, it's exit number 1, and that's it. It's very small. About 10% of people went to college from Preble Promise. They said Preble County. They said that was a problem for the manufacturing and everything that lived in there. Said we can't get. I think we have all heard this spiel before. So I was tapped to start this nonprofit to help people get into college. So the logical thing I thought, well, okay, I'll just go through the guidance counselors. They talk to the kids. Makes sense, right? That's what all the other college access centers do. So I printed out brochures. I'm very proud of these brochures. And flyers and put it on there, nothing. We sat there, we did nothing. And it's because we didn't have a good base of operation. We had a flyer, but the flyer didn't really help people get into college. It was a flyer to come talk to us. That was a lot of things. So what we did, we decided that we have to work on our base. And when I talk about base, it means what is the one piece of stuff that everything's going to funnel into. For instance, Smartups, our base right now is Eventbrite. We can funnel everything through Eventbrite. That means that we have people, that we have all the information for the event. You have the link for the virtual event. You have the time, you have the place, and you have a way that you can come back because Eventbrite will ping you if we ever do another event. We probably need a better website, which is what we're working on now. So that'll become a base so we can grow Smartups tips, right? Other people, let's say you have a company that you do tires. Your base is probably still going to be that website because people need to come and find you on Google My Business. They're going to want to look at your prices. You're going to look at your coupons. It's all going to go through that website. 90% of everybody's base is going to be that website because it's your informational hub. It's your sales hub. It's where you can get most of your leads and contacts. If you don't work on that, you don't really have anything else to go on to because you kill your funnel. So when we worked on nonprofit, right, we decided we're going to work on this base and then market through iteration. And yeah, we got a lot of people in our ear that we have to do this, we got to do that. We just sort of shoved them out for a while and said, let's start with this website. So we built it up and we made it where you can find an appointment, you can get a form through us, we had all this information about colleges, and there, especially the local colleges, what the admissions process was. We built that up so even if they don't talk to us, they know who we are and they get the information they need. We had ways where we had information for guidance counselors to go into. So we built this up. So everything we did was a lot easier. After that was a lot easier because instead of trying to sell everybody in every avenue, when we did our Facebook campaigns, we just said, no, we just want to go to the website. That's it. We don't have to sell them there. It's hard to sell them on Facebook unless you kind of have a physical product, but even then, we just want to get them to the website. So we were doing it backwards. Then we just built it up. After Facebook, and we thought that we had that pretty good, we went to podcasts. We did a podcast. But we found out, wow, people listen to podcasts. So we tried that for 6 or 7 months, and it did pretty well. It got us into it, and then I got another job and moved on. But as things built up, it was one on another and on another. It's through the iteration, and that helps a lot because, and it's hard to do because you'll have somebody say, hey, I got the key. But if you sit down again, write it down. Pen and paper is always great. You can use ChatGPT and get something generic. But you make a marketing plan, an actual marketing plan. And this is different than like a strategic plan. This is a marketing plan. I'm going to do this first. And this is without dates. This is how I know it's done. And I can move on. These are the elements I need on there. And you can do it yourself. You can hire a professional to do it. It's your base. You want to be good. And, but you want to have the ideas that you get everything in there before you move on. And this plan will go, okay, now I'm going to first work on my website. Then I'm going to work on my social media, especially these. Then I might do video, but I got to have this stuff done first. And then when someone comes into, especially if you have any like venture capital money or grants that you have to do, you can show them this plan and goes, this is the plan. We're going to stick to the plan. And people feel a little bit better about it. So, and that all goes into the last one. Is a mistake one, and I think a lot of you might, hopefully, have felt this as startups. I know I did. I was drowning for a while, or felt like I was drowning for a while. So you just try to do too much. You have a limited amount of time and resources. Limited amount of time and resources. You can't try to do too much. You can pick the things that work for you, and if it doesn't work, that's okay. It doesn't have to have it. If you find out you start this Facebook campaign and you think, oh, this is great, I love Facebook, it's easy to do, they really make it easy to do unless you do ads, which they make fairly difficult. But I can see engagement, I can do that, but you don't see it actually filtering into your base, to your website. Is it really working? Or is it just giving you stress? So when I first started the Soy Nut Butter Company, this is everything that we were doing. Conferences, website, consumer shows, grocery stores, magazine ads, and these take a lot of time. Radio, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, sell sheets for our brokers, promotional events, and that's not counting the podcast or that we also have to do because, hey, we had consultants come in and say, you got to do it. This is the key. Facebook's the key. Twitter's the key. I got my job because I knew the Twitters. So it was the key. If we do this, we're going to make billions of dollars. I worked with a cookie lady when I first got here. She wanted to start her own cookie business. And she said, all right, I want to be the next Sara Lee. I want to be, I just saw this interview on the Today Show, and I want to be that. I said, okay, that's good. You sell cookies to 5 stores, but we can go start with that. And she goes, okay, so here's my plan. I have 7 things I want to do. I said, all right, well, let's look at them. None of them are good. And they all have the same information, Twitter, Facebook, they all were links. And they all have, well, I found this tool that posts to every social media at the same time. So it's great. It's like, it's not just about eyeballs, it's about getting that marketing message across to the right people. Right? And so if you do that, you can drive yourself crazy. It was driving her crazy. I was driven crazy, and I wasn't really sleeping. I was traveling all the time. And so we're just too thin. And stuff that we're doing was okay. It wasn't bad. I'm not going to say it was bad. What I wasn't doing was bad. It was okay. Nowadays, with AI, you have a big push to make okay stuff. Okay, hey, you can make you can download this video, make a bunch of blog from it, throw it through ChatGPT, and it's okay. Well, the problem with just being okay is that it reflects onto your business. I would rather you do few things well and not okay at that. And that can be a death blow of it. 14% startups fail by poorly managed marketing. That's trying to do too much too soon, right? 13% startups fail because they try to do too much. And these are, pretty good studies in there. 70% of startups fail from premature scaling. They just throw everything to the wind, like, oh, we need to do all this stuff because they don't work on that phase and build iteratively onto it. So the solution is fairly simple, is only do things well. That marketing plan will tell you when it's good. Right? If you can't do it good yourself, it may be time to talk to someone who can do it well and take it over for you, and that's okay. Let's go into another personal example, because I like personal examples and I have to eat up time. We'll go back to the soy nut butter. So I was doing all those things, driving myself crazy. After I talked to the guru at the consumer trade show, he's like, all right. We said, we're going to work everything on this website. Our website stunk, by the way. It was old. Shopping was like, they still kept credit cards on a spreadsheet, not necessarily secure. So we did everything. We transformed the website to something that was easy to shop for. And we did this for two reasons. One, not only is it a nice informational hub that we could tell people when we go to conferences or we talk to clients or we talk to brokers, go to your website, everything's there. You don't have to worry about it. Here, taste this. But we can go and we can streamline that shopping channel so people can buy more, and especially buy more in bulk. Because we have a lot of daycares that sold. They're not going to sell through a broker or through they're going to buy off our website. So we streamlined this process. So everything that we did for the website went to the shopping page. If we had a recipe on the website, had a link to the shopping page. If we had, just information into it, everything went into that shopping page, because that's what it was all about. And this was before e-commerce was like Amazon only. So there was a lot going on there. And then we did our two biggest sales thing, which is conferences, because we sold to a food service. We went from 20 conferences to 40, because that was what was working. And then we did consumer shows, especially in the allergy vein, because we could sell a lot of product there at one time. So again, that's all we worried about. Now we had Facebook, we had Twitter, we had all that stuff. We didn't really worry about that for a while until we got the booth done, until we got the sell sheets, everything for the conferences. We got that done because we just didn't have time. I don't want to do a conference. I'm a one-guy shop. I was a one-guy shop. I didn't want to do a conference, stand on the floor 8 hours a day, and come home and go, oh man, I got to do a Twitter post. And then just dump something in that nobody cares about, that they'll just scroll through. So we worked about that. Once we got a good cadence, then we added our Facebook group. And we did it with a purpose of getting people to the website. Right? So we created like a community in this Facebook, and so we talked about allergies. We had influencers on there too, but the whole idea is like, hey, if you're going to do it, you got to do it to the websites. We talked to our influencers. If you ever sell product, I don't know if you guys sell products or like there, you're going to get a lot of people wanting to sell it online to influencer. And we got, especially in our consumer blog, we probably got 7 or 8 a week. And if you just give us free product, we'll give you a review, or we'll put you online. Well, we shortened that down to like 5 influencers. We had big rules for it. They had to use it in their personal life, so they need to know how it's done, so they're just not making recipes out of it. We had one person to promote our stuff at the beginning who was allergic to soy. So it was selling that something that was allergic to our own product. So, so they had to use it. It would be best if they were moms. Not all of them were moms because their kids' school market found out was big. So we did that. And they had to do something other than just recipes. Because I don't know if you've been on a recipe blog, but they stink. And because you have to go through, 20 paragraphs of SEO, and then you get to the recipe. And I say, all right, even then, if you're going to do those, you have to put the recipe up top. And so we have very strict rules, because if we're going to do it, we're going to do it well. All right, this is our name on it, and so we're only doing a few things. Everything's got to be top notch, right? And then we went to Twitter, and we did it for these little things that used to go on called Twitter chats. That was a long time ago. I don't think I've seen Twitter chat in 3-4 years, but we did that, and mostly we were like the expert in these Twitter chats. We go in there and we answer questions about allergies, how to handle it, and then but we did it well. We and we put time in it, and then when we couldn't do it ourselves, we farmed it out to someone who we trusted. By this time, I didn't touch the website at all. Someone else did. We hired that out to keep it going, which was hard because I know how to design websites. So, and then all this other stuff we ditched. We didn't have time for it. We just got rid of it. And we got a lot of flack. I got a lot of flack at the beginning because, it's different from what they were doing for 15 years. But it worked. It worked. Our marketing was tighter. Our message was stronger. People started remembering us, which was the biggest problem that we had. Even people who bought our product didn't know who we were. And things worked out. Any startup can follow the same thing, because all you have to do is do what works. Concentrate on it. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. Just put it to the side. If you're on LinkedIn right now and you're getting 0 engagement, but you're spending a half hour putting on a post, boy, wouldn't that half hour be better if you were doing something else? So if you have that base, you can iterate, you can experiment, and you can do it. The big pitfall that people have is that sometimes PVC for 2 weeks. That didn't work. Let's try something else. And so you waste a lot of money. Give it time to percolate. Give it time to do it. 3-4 months looks good. And see what goes on. Understand what success is. Do your research. What success is. No one is going to go viral. Get that off your list, because virals happen. They're not. And just worry and stop worrying about chasing trends. If you can do that, you'll be okay. You'll have time back. Are you going to light the world on fire? Maybe. But most likely, you're going to have better results with fewer things because you put time into it. All right. And this is basically what that old guy came out of the cornfields. That may have been a movie. But he said, the internet will still be here tomorrow. Do what you can today and do it well. So, thanks. Here's my stuff. You want to, spam me. And questions? Yeah.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Oh, but can everybody hear me okay?
No, online.
Oh, it's for the online.
Oh, online. Okay. So where do I just do this? Okay, cool. All right. The soy nut thing.
Yeah.
Was that basically a business to business construct?
It started out as a business consumer product. In fact,
A direct set for sale
no, we were
to consumer product.
we were in grocery stores also.
Now that's kind of the nature of my question.
Yes.
I mean, 99% of food products aren't sold direct, right?
I will have to disagree with you.
Oh boy, you want to get into statistics? I would
Yeah,
respectfully challenge.
I will say 99% of things in the grocery store are from 5 different companies.
Say what?
Are from 5 different food companies.
Okay.
And the reason is because you got to go through distributors to get in food companies. Now you can get in smaller markets, Fresh Market and Carmel you can get into. Marziano's in Chicago you can get into. But if you want to go Kroger, Albertsons, the big boys, you got to go through either UNFI or you go through KeHE. So to go in there, you need an enormous amount of money to get in there because of the stock fees, for the shelving fees, for all that kind of stuff to go into. And you guys showed up.
You are right about that. It requires a tremendous commitment to manufacturing and inventory.
Yeah, and so if you're a small company, now we were lucky enough that people started showing up butter. They were veterans of Quaker Oats, so they knew the business. But they didn't start. They started out at Trader Joe's, not in Kroger. Okay, so they built their base up, and this was when Trader Joe's was small, and so making a train load, they would put stuff in train loads, and so they would get there. But so they did the grocery business, and that did well when soy was high, and they right. But then when soy started losing the cachet, to the likes like Dr. Oz saying it was terrible for you and that kind of stuff, sales kind of went down. When we did business to our direct sales, first of all, direct sales is wonderful because you don't have any overhead. We did a couple things a little differently. One, we've shipped right out of the office.
Sure.
Right. And so we talked to a lot of food, like small things like, we can't do that. Easy. UPS makes everything easy. But we also found out that we can go after food companies, or not schools and daycares. And it just happens when soy was going down, the peanut allergy threat was going up.
Sure.
And so through daycares, KinderCare, KinderCare, they had a lawsuit of someone dying for peanuts. And so out of that lawsuit, blanket statement, we're not going to put any more peanuts in KinderCares. But what KinderCare does, the rest of the industry does in safety. So when we did that, we had a lot of daycares just calling us, and they would order direct because they didn't want to go through a distributor. It's expensive. And so that's where we started a lot of our direct sales. But we would have people buy 2 jars, 3 jars all the time. In fact, at the time when I said we went from 4 million to 8 million, 1.5 million was just 2 consumers, not even the food service, 2 consumers direct. We made it easy. And we did things like free shipping. And mostly we did that because most people found out if you're going to order direct, they'll buy 6 jars, they'll buy 12 jars at a time, not a problem. So we put those a little bit on discount, again, cheaper than they can in the store because there's no overhead. We're making the amount of money that we'd send to a distributor anyways, so we just threw free shipping on it. So that's where it goes. Yeah. So you can do as a food person direct sales, and nowadays I think it's buying direct is no brainer, right? People do it all the time. Back then, buying direct was a little like Amazon just stopped selling books and went into other things. So this was in the infancy. So we didn't know if it was going to work. We just did it. And we put a lot of effort to it and built it up because we had a lot of calls coming through the office. We didn't want calls coming through the office because we're a shop of 5 people. So if it comes through the office, our administrative assistant who has to do everything else has to take these calls. Well, we can usher them to the website and make it easier for them to order. And then at the end, we're like, hey, we now can make them a subscription. They just get it every month and put it in there. And, you know, if we get a better deal than they could on Amazon, when Amazon did start carrying our products, you know, they'll do it. And they trust it. And we had we had a good relationship with them. We went to these shows where most people don't go to the shows. You go to a daycare show, there's no food. But then so we came in and it's like, oh, and we solved the problem that they needed solving. Yeah, when we went to our first like national daycare show, and then I'm probably rambling too much, but when we went to our first daycare show, we had people literally lined up just to taste this little spoonful of soy nut butter, because this is something that you take peanut butter away from kids, they get mad. And even worse, the parents get mad. I had peanut butter and jelly when I was a kid. I want my kid to have peanut butter and jelly. It's all he's going to eat. And so we solved the problem in there. But we were afraid, because we had our good base and because we just concentrated on this, say, if this is selling, why wouldn't we do this? Why wouldn't we go back and put more money into it and more time into it, because it's working? You know, and we talked to other small food companies. They didn't even, we can't do that. That's too much time. We're going to be on Facebook for awareness. That's fine. I'll go here and get more else. You get awareness, I'll get sales. All right. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Sorry for the long answer. Yeah. The food industry is nuts.
I have a question. This is food industry related. So with the food, when you're looking at, you had a specialty food product.
Yes.
Can people who don't have a specialty food product do the same? Is it possible?
You can do the same. Yeah. I mean, you're going to have to actually probably do more of the same, focus very tightly if you don't have a specialty product, because you have so much competition. Let's just say you do something like where there's like 1 million different varieties and it's localized, like barbecue sauce, right? North Carolina has a different barbecue sauce, Texas different, Kansas City, right? And then you go to the grocery stores and you have the big guys. You got Sweet Baby Ray's, you got Heinz, you got all that have their own barbecue sauce, right? You're a small company. You're a startup, you say, I have this thing, it's different from everything else. Maybe it's like a special blend of herbs and spices. Maybe it cooks better on the grill. And you're like, okay, this is what I have. You're not going to get shelf space right away from a store. I mean, that's a lot of money. And if you do it, if you get the shelf space, 9 times out of 10, someone big is going to buy it, going to say, oh, I'll pay double, knock you right off the shelves. If you're lucky enough to be in your own area, they'll have a local section. So that's usually small to the side. So you can do that. But if you concentrate on different avenues, you have to find what makes you unique and concentrate on that avenue. So if you have a barbecue sauce, right, you might want to say, okay, first thing I'm going to concentrate on is something like maybe these barbecue competitions. Because now I don't have a barbecue sauce, I have an award-winning barbecue sauce. Maybe I go to these smaller consumer shows where I can sell bottles direct, right? It's 2 of them. And then that gives you cachet. That gives you, oh yeah, this was good. But you can't expect it. You don't expect to like, I have this barbecue sauce, I have a year, everyone's going to want it. No one cares until you make them care. And you have to go to them. So listen to your customers. If you have a bunch of people who are already buying it, how did you find us? You know, and then concentrate on that. Because especially with shopping right now, every platform that wants you on it. You know, TikTok has shopping. You know, now everyone wants you there because that's drives consumer, and the problem is none of them are very effective. So you find something that works and you build that up. But I would do probably first thing I would do is work on my website and find it, and then so you can go shopping, so you can buy direct before you get into stores, because stores also like one thing if they can sell it. And so you say, well, I've been selling it direct and here's my sales. I've been growing every year. That helps with that selling to those buyers on there. And then once you get that point, then I'd say with food, it's different. Food, people like to taste things before they buy them. You might get someone who will drop a flyer every once in a while. But most things, you need to find a way to get people to taste it. So go to these shows, local shows, and a lot of them aren't that expensive. $250 to get into a local thing at the fairgrounds sometimes. They have, you find those out and you go there and you taste it and you listen, talk to customers and you listen, and then you find the avenues and you go out from there. I'd say the big startup right now that's generating a lot of buzz in the food industry is this probiotic soda pop. Have you tried it? Yeah. So my wife tries it, and they talk about what worked well. They found out first they did soda pop wasn't really, because people don't drink Coke for Pepsi. They could care less about health. Maybe a Diet Coke, but that's diluting themselves. So they say, okay, they found out, all right, we can't compete against Coke. You know what we can't? We are competing against, just how habitats, kombucha. So we're going to not put this in the soda aisle. We're going to put this in the kombucha aisle, because I don't know if you taste that. It's disgusting. So, sorry, kombucha lovers. But and so that's where they got. They're already looking for health, and now they have something that's pop, that's not gross. They tried it, and that's where they got it. So you're talking about how to get into stores. They found a weak link in the store shelving where they could buy space in. And in fact, some stores waive the shelf fees because they can't sell kombucha. That kind of craze has come and gone, but they could sell this. And so it's all iterative, though. It's all iterative. A lot of startups come in, a lot of small businesses come in. It's like, I'm going to throw $1 million and we're going to go viral and everyone's going to love it. And 6 months later, they're like, no one's buying this. Let's pack it up. Let's move on with our lives. And especially in food, they do that. You got a lot of excited people out there, throw a lot of money and then disappear a year later. But if you do iteratively, you can save some of that money, because you can expect you're not going to make $1 million day one. By year 5, that's what you shoot for. Right. Yep.
Yeah, so as a startup company, somebody that maybe isn't real familiar with marketing, how would a new company, once they get their website set up, know what platform might be the best for them to market and deliver their message on? Is it just kind of a trial and error kind of thing? Or what if they don't have a lot of money to, say, try this and then lose a couple thousand, and then what's the best way to kind of...
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 ways you can go. If you don't have any money, you can go to Squarespace, Wix, Weebly, and just have a website, because something is better than nothing. And you don't have a lot of programming. That's knowledge. Squarespace is probably the best, although it's the most complicated to put something in. Follow the template. Don't try to get too creative in that way, and just work on your message.
I was more referring to social media, I guess social media platforms. How would they know which one they should market on or post ads or?
All right, that's a good question. All right, so after you have your website done, and like I said, 90% of the time you're going to want to get your website done first. And if you don't have the things, you can go to, if you have money, go to a designer and do it. If you have more money, go to someone who also knows SEO. And the things that for social media, This is a little bit different. This is going to be a little different for every different person, right? So I'd say start with either where you know your customers are or what you're comfortable with. All right. So we started with Facebook because it was old and I was very comfortable with Facebook. And so I knew how to make a post. I knew how to, upload video and do that kind of stuff. So that's what we started. But we also found out our customers at the time were there too. And because we would put it up, and as we base these things up, we knew our engagement rate raised. And I wouldn't start with ads right away, right? A lot of people are like, because you don't have anything there yet, build that page up first. Post for a while first, so you look like you're an active customer, and do it. But whether you do Facebook, whether you do LinkedIn, Twitter or X is kind of a mess right now, but it really goes to where your customers are and if you're comfortable with it. And then you can learn the others, but yeah, start with what you're comfortable with. Don't worry about it. And if it doesn't work, you can always phase it out and go with something that's more profitable as you go. No one's going to be, no person's going to go, let's say you're on LinkedIn and you're on it for a year and nobody responds to your posts and you can't get any traction. But you find out you have a lot of traction on, let's say, Instagram. No one's going to say, what happened to your LinkedIn post? Oh, it was a customer and you got rid of that. So don't be afraid to just phase things out if it doesn't work. But yeah, if you want to know where to start, just do what you're comfortable with and try it out. But do it well. And that's the thing. Don't just post and then like 5 weeks later post again. Do it well. Keep it consistent. Give yourself if it helps you to create assets ahead of time, do that. If you're more comfortable of going once a day and doing a post up, do that. But make sure it's consistent and it's quality.
Well, what do you consider consistent? Is that like posting 3 times a day, or is once a day enough? Or?
I think it depends on the platform. Like if you're LinkedIn and you post 3 times a day, it's probably a little overkill. Just the way they do their algorithm. Once is probably good. Maybe even once every couple days. If you're on Facebook, once a day is fine. Depending if you put ads to it or boost the post, that may change your cadence a little bit. Twitter and Instagram and things like that, where people scroll through, you want to do more often. So again, I would say, how often do you post? How often do you check it? If you're on Instagram 3 times a day, probably 3 times a day.
I like that.
Yeah. Like, you know what you're doing. Just make sure that you immerse yourself as you do it. Good question.
So why do you feel like when we look at like a marketing message, like why do you feel like startups and companies and brands tend to ramble in that marketing message? Is it because we're trying to just fit everything into like one statement and we have no brand and we have no awareness, so we're trying to do everything all in one marketing message? Or what do you think it is that makes that such a common mistake?
It's a good question. I'm trying to see, do I talk about psychology or do I talk about in a nutshell, to put it together, it's very hard to talk about yourself because you know a lot about yourself. You started a company for a reason, or you got involved in a company for a reason, right? And so these reasonings, a lot of times it's not just one, 7-word answer, right? You may see a problem in an industry that you can fix. Right? There may be a product out there that nobody else has. You may be able to think you could do something better. And then you want to explain why or how that process works. And you want to get into it because that's exciting. I mean, hey, we had a bunch of brain scientists talk about their own product. And they want to talk about the process. They want to talk about how they discovered to use palm oil and ground it up at the same time as all the other stuff. So the consistency was like peanut butter. And really no one cares except for them, but it's interesting once you're interested. But to put a marketing thing like that, do you want to talk about that every time you have a post? It's hard to do. It's hard to do. Because I can think about we're working on our own website right now, and it's hard to narrow down how do we do it, because we have basically two different clients. We have a multi-location clients and we have local clients. How do we narrow that down to a 7-word answer of what we do? And we do multi-location, probably different than almost anyone in the nation. And we want to explain that. But after 20 minutes, they probably, looking at jeans or something on Instagram. So that's, if we can narrow it down, we'll have a better chance to bring people in. And the best thing they can ask you, you've got someone. They go, oh, well, that's interesting. Tell me more. We ain't got them. At least you got their attention. That's most of the problem, right? So, I mean, we can just talk about right now. We just had 3 questions on the food industry. And they're not even here anymore. So, all right. Did I answer your question, Travis? Awesome. Anyone else? Anyone in online land have a question? All right.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it. That was really good and helpful. So thank you guys so much for coming. Like I said, our next Smartups is going to be April 16th. So be on the lookout for information for that, and hope to see you then. But thank you guys again, and have a great rest of your day. And thank you again, Jack. Appreciate it. That was really helpful. So thank you guys. Have a good one.